Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach, when you will say, I find no pleasure in them. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth. Today we're going to read Psalm 19. I'll flip over there. Psalm 19, and before we get into the psalm, I'd just like to set it up for you. This psalm speaks of the two, now this is generally speaking, the two general ways, or generally speaking, the two ways that Yahweh, the God of the Bible, the one true God, is revealed to us. Okay, now he can reveal himself to you, to me, or to anyone or to a group in any way he so chooses. But generally speaking, the way that we see God, that is Elohim, Yahweh, and the way he is revealed to us is through two ways, and that would be general revelation and special revelation. General revelation would be, for example, like what we see when we look out the window, the birds, the trees, the flowers, nature. Also what we see when we look through the telescope out into space. And there's plenty of images and videos online of space. One is you can, in any search engine, you can put in there Hubble UDF. That's the Hubble telescope. Let's see, UDF. Well, I forgot what UDF stands for. I think it's Ultra Deep Field View. But you can check that out. And there's lots of images of space online that we have access to in our modern age that the ancients didn't have access to, so that we really don't have an excuse. General revelation would also be what we see when we look through the microscope. Okay, so looking at our physical world, the microscope example would be like DNA, the things we've learned about our makeup and the encoding in the human genome, and how DNA replicates, how cells divide. That's another example of general revelation. Special revelation would be what we see, what we read, what the Holy Spirit, okay, in Hebrew that's called the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit or the breath of Yahweh that is holy, Kadesh. So special revelation would be, he would be revealed to us through his word. Excuse me. So now, before we get started into it, I just want you to notice right here the word soul. Okay, that word in Hebrew is nepesh. And if you do a little research on that here, I'm just going to read this off. It means soul, living being, life, self, person, desire, appetite, emotion, passion, that which breathes, the breathing substance, or being, psyche, the inner being of man or animal. And the past, you can see that in Genesis 1:30 and other places. Another word used many times for breath or spirit would be nishmat. in Hebrew, and Genesis 2:7 is a good reference. Breath or spirit, pant. And then ruah, and that's the word that when you see Holy Spirit in Hebrew, that's the ruah, the spirit, kadesh, of holiness. And that is breath or spirit. Job 12:10 is a good example of that. And here at the very bottom, just reading my notes, Nepesh, Nishmat, and Ruah are all three used when the word of Yahweh speaks of man and animals. Genesis 7:22, but only man is created in Yahweh's image. Genesis 1:26-27. Okay, so it would serve you well to look at all those references and many more you can cross-reference. So keep that term in mind. When it says soul here, the word is nepesh in Hebrew. So let's get right into it. Psalm 19. For the director of music, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God. That's El. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. In the heavens he has pitched a tent for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming forth from his pavilion, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is hidden from its heat. Okay, so that was general revelation. Now continuing with the psalm, now it's going to get into special revelation, that is Yahweh's word. The law, okay, normally you hear that spoken of as Torah or Torah. This Hebrew word is a variant of that. It's Torat. Torat. The law of Yahweh is perfect, reviving or turning back the soul. And there's that word, nepesh. Okay. It turns back. The word of Yahweh, the living word, turns back the soul. Okay, it turns us from our breaking of Yahweh's law. 1 John 3:4, or laws, turns us back to doing what he says is righteous. And remember, truth sets us free. Deception binds us. And he is truth. Yeshua said that he was and is the way, the truth, the life, there in John 14. Okay, so reviving the soul, turning back the soul, or the nepesh. The statutes of Yahweh, remember, you see the capital R, that gives it away. In Hebrew, that's Yahweh, the God or Elohim of the Bible. The statutes of Yahweh are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of Yahweh are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of Yahweh are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of Yahweh is pure, enduring forever. The ordinances of Yahweh are sure and altogether righteous. They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey from the comb. By them is your servant warned. In keeping them, there is great reward. Who can discern his errors? And that's what I just spoke of. Right? 1 John 3:4 tells us that our errors are our sin. It gives us a clear definition of that. It's going our own way. It's breaking Yahweh's laws written on our hearts morally. So back to verse 12. Who can discern his errors? Forgive my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from willful sins. May they not rule over me. Then will I be blameless, innocent of great transgression. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Yahweh, my rock. That word is Zuri or Zuri. It means rock, cliff, strength. And my Wuga'ali. All right. It's Redeemer. A redeemer is one who redeems or buys back, like a kinsman redeemer, and you can read that in the book of Ruth. Okay. Yahweh is our rock, and he's the one who buys us back through his salvation. Yahweh's salvation is Yahshua. Some people call him Jesus, but his name means, and it is Yahweh's Shua, Yahweh's salvation. Okay, so as you read the word, as you look out the window, as you look up into space, and you look down into the microscope, just realize that all of the physical universe, even the unseen laws, like the law of gravity, the things he has put in place. And keep in mind, there are spiritual laws. An example would be a man reaps what he sows. As you have done, it will be done to you. We read in Obadiah. All these Yahweh has put into place, and all of these speak to who he is, that he exists. And they direct us. What we see out the window directs us, if we'll listen, to look in his word and learn more about him. So the two general ways, generally speaking, that we get revealed to us that there is a creator and that he exists and that he is communicating with us, is through general revelation and special revelation. And we see that clearly here in Psalm 19. So we end by repeating verse 14. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Yahweh, my rock and my redeemer.